Hey, good morning. How you doing? This is Tim Carter, and I'm hoping you can hear me okay. Um, Actually, I've got the the fancy microphone working today. Could you let me know if the sound is okay? If I know there's two people there, could you just type into the chat and say sound is good or thumbs up or something? Let me know. Uh, Curious to make sure that the audio is okay in this live stream. Lots going on. Lots of really interesting stuff. Uh, should be a really interesting live stream. One of the things we're going to talk about, but not right at this instant, is here's a brand new um, cordless. We've been talking about cordless tools a lot here, and this is a cordless soldering iron from Craftsman. All right, so very interesting tool. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Some really interesting technology in this thing. And it's really perfect for Mother's Day is right around the corner, Father's Day is around the corner. Um, really, who if you don't have a soldering iron at your home, something's wrong. All right. So how's the sound? Can you hear me? Okay. Let me know if the sound's okay. Come on, I gotta know. I gotta know. Hello. Tell me if the sound's fine. Simple to do. Just type it in the chat. Maybe you're watching the stream and you're not a YouTube person, so you're not able to type in the chat. I don't know. I'm just going to keep going, and I hope that the sound's okay. Just before I went live, I have I don't know if you are aware of this. A lot of people aren't. I find sometimes it's kind of shocking, but there's a thing, it's been around for years, called Google Alerts. You can set up, okay, sounds great. Thanks, Bob. That's all I needed to know. You can set up, you can go to Google Alerts. So just type that into Google. And if there's something that you're interested in, I don't care what it could be, model railroading, I don't know, whatever, soldering irons. And if you can set up an alert so that, and you can customize it so you don't get overwhelmed. But anytime a new page, a new video, whatever appears online, and those words that you put in are in it, Google sends you an email saying, "Hey, check this out." So you can see how that's a really effective tool if you're doing media scanning. So I have one, of course, set up for Ask the Builder, and of course I get all kinds of stupid emails about somebody may write a story that says, I don't know, just some general interest story, and says, make sure you ask the builder if he's going to do this or that, blah, blah. So I get those, like I trash can those. So today, though, just moments ago, just like 15 minutes ago or less, I get a Google alert about this page, this brand new page that just got published. All right. So this is a big, big, big national newspaper that just recently picked up my column. They don't run it every week. But they pay for the column. They don't pay a lot, but they when they find a column that they think is going to really help people, they publish it. And go to that link right there. And that's a photograph of my deck that I shot. I was standing at the top. It was so dangerous. I'm standing literally on the top of an 8-foot step ladder trying to get this panoramic view of a deck with a lake in the background. It's a really good photo. Anyway, and that's all Trex Transcend. But it's a really interesting article online, and you probably ought to read it. So that's pretty exciting. Really, really exciting that is in there. We'll see what happens. And if you want to go there and comment, like if you want to go to that link and leave a comment, some positive comment about Ask the Builder, I'd sure appreciate it. That's all. So, any way that you think I can help people. It's really kind of funny in that photo. I noticed down in the lower right-hand corner, I didn't think about it when I composed the photo, but I've got my 20-foot long aluminum pick is in the lower right-hand corner with a board on it. I'm just noticing that now. But anyway, very interesting. So you get a feel if you go look at this column and you go um, look at the photo that I just shared in that link. Here, I'll do it again. If you go there, I'm going to probably be doing some live. In fact, I know I am. I'm going to be doing some live streams during the week from the deck, right, sitting at that table under that umbrella, and should be pretty good. The ones in the week should be okay. There shouldn't be too much noise. I'm looking at the photo. There should not be too much noise from boats, but weekends could be a little shaky. I don't know. We'll try it and see what happens on a Saturday morning. But weekends, there's a lot of activity if it's good weather. All right. If you have any questions about your home, go ahead and type them in to the chat. That's why I'm here. If I don't get any questions, I'm going to just end the live stream. Not to be rude, but the only reason I come here is to answer questions. I don't come here to blabber on about anything. That's not why I'm here. So you have to ask questions. If you don't ask questions, I'm out of here. So right now, though, I'm going to talk about this. I just got this yesterday. This Craftsman soldering iron. All right. So, it's just like if you've never used a soldering iron before, this tip here gets really hot. I mean, it can get anywhere from, you can regulate it, and I'll show you how to do that. It can go anywhere from 400 degrees Fahrenheit to 900 degrees Fahrenheit. So this gets really hot. All right. I mean, it can cause serious burns in just a second. And here's the big thing. It can cause fires in your home. So these are dangerous. I mean, you have to treat them with great respect. And but they're very useful. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can use soldering irons for. Here's the cool part. So it's battery operated. So if you buy just the tool, you just get this part. All right. So I just disconnected the tool from the battery. All right. So there's the tool base. There's the controls, and I'm gonna explain all this in just a second. All right. And it's got this handy little sponge. This is how you clean off the tip of the iron. So as you're working with it, you'll do like that to keep the tip clean, and you just get this wet with water. So nothing to it. Very standard. There's lots and lots of videos on YouTube that show you how to use a soldering iron. So I would recommend you go watch it. Now, let me put it back in the battery, and all right, and then you can see a little LED light comes on. I know I'm trying to get that so it's all right. So now what happens is, shows you that battery's on, and you can turn it on and off by pushing this button right here. That turns it on and off. And you'll notice that red light is flashing now. What that means is when I first put the battery on, the soldering iron started to get hot. So the flashing light means, hey, the flipping iron is hot. Don't take it out. Don't, just understand it's not cooled down yet. Once the soldering iron cools down, then that red light stops flashing. And when you have the soldering iron on, it goes solid like that. So in other words, I just turned it on and now it's heating up. And then if you want to regulate how much heat it is, you can turn this knob. You can see me turning it. And obviously, the more you turn it, the higher the temperature gets. And down here, it's got like a scale to kind of give you an idea of how hot it's getting. The heat of the soldering iron, because sometimes you'll want to control the heat. But it's really that simple. And of course, on the battery, you've got a little indicator that tells you how much charge is left in the battery. All right, so that's the soldering iron. Pretty cool. I'm going to turn it off and watch what happens. The light starts to flash because it was getting hot. The soldering iron was getting hot. All right, really great tool. If you don't have a soldering iron, you should get one. I'm just telling you. I use it in my ham radio hobby all the time. In fact, I just, like 8 days ago, I was at a friend's home where we built an unun, which is basically just a transformer. And and we had to solder a bunch of the connections. All right, so if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'd love to answer your questions this morning. Love to hear from you. Another thing I want to share with you, I have to look this up. I got another interesting email overnight from a friend of mine who started a very interesting channel on YouTube, and he is. I'm trying to find. Here we go. I have to get the. I have to bring up this email. Get the channel, and there's one video in this. He's only got four videos in this channel, but you'll be able to get to the channel once you know how to do that. You're a YouTube expert, right? All right. So I'm bringing it up. The little laptop's a little slow. Hang in there. Here we go. Here's the 4. I want to give you this one video in particular. It was wait till I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain it here. I'm going to explain this. Okay, before I give you the link, where's the coffee? I already had it. All right, so Will, keep this in mind. If I don't get any questions, I'm out of here. All right, so I'm trying to get people. We don't have a lot of people watching. I didn't really promote it, but if we don't get any questions, I'm gone. But let me tell you about this email I got overnight from a friend of mine. Back in 1999, I was one of the founding members of a very secret internet entrepreneur group. And one of the early members who got on board pretty early happened to be a professional writer who lived in Cincinnati, where I did. And he was an early internet adopter like I was. You know, I launched Ask the Builder in 1995. His name's Alan, and Alan Wyatt. And Alan started a website. He became an expert early on, and he could see that Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel were going to be huge. I mean, you didn't have to be a rocket scientist. I mean, Alan's really smart, don't get me wrong, but he knew that those two pieces of software were going to be used by businesses and that people needed to be trained how to use them. He then started a website about both of those, and then did a newsletter, and he made a living out of it. It's just, and he's got literally thousands and thousands and thousands of past columns about how all the little intricacies of Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel, how to use them. He lives in the southwest corner of Wyoming now, and he decided to start this crazy little channel. He's only got 4 videos right now about traveling, just traveling out there. And I think he calls the channel Traveling with Alan. And he shared this endeavor with a group of us last night. I saw it this morning, and he's a really, really good writer. And these are really great videos. And I watched this one video, and you're not going to believe this video, because you're not going to, if you've ever been to a national park out west, like Grand Canyon, Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon, I don't care, just take your pick. Even in the off season, they can be crowded. I mean, they can be all right. So I went out west with a friend of mine. We've since become estranged. That's a whole nother story. And we were out in Utah 3 or 4 years ago, and we decided that we had gone to Zion at first, and it was so crowded. We thought, this is stupid. This is crazy. And we then we decided, okay, let's get a map out and look at some of these state parks in Utah. And so we started to hit on the remainder of the trip all these state parks. We then also did a couple of national monuments. Cedar Breaks was one, I think, Cedar Breaks National Monument, which is spectacular. I think Cedar Breaks was like 10,000 feet in the air. Just, if you've not been to Cedar Breaks, you got to go. It's in Utah. And we were stunned to discover these Utah state parks that it's like they're ghost towns. Like, nobody goes to the state parks, and they're absolutely gorgeous. All right. So my friend Alan goes to this one state park, and he records a video, And this here's how cool the state park is. Um, it basically overlooks Canyonlands National Park. All right, so just videos, all I can tell you. You got to watch this guy's video. Yeah, thanks, Bob. That's I built the upper deck was built with a house. I built that lower deck where the table is with the umbrella. You know, I built that one because that's a whole nother live stream in and of itself. This is how stupid some people are. I hate to say that word. You know, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say stupid. There's got to be another adjective. Maybe I'll say unknowledgeable. That's a little softer. The unknowledgeable person, either the architect or the homeowner or the builder who built this home. I did not build my home that I live in. I hate this house, by the way. I hate everything about it. It was just supposed to be a transition house. They built the deck. There's two decks on the house. One right on top of another, and I have a big walkout basement. And both decks are the same length, 65 feet long. All right, 60. That's how long the house is, north to south. The deck's only 10 feet wide. The first video I ever did, first one, was, gosh, back in 1998 or so. It's a long, long story about, it was done by Charlie Murdoch. And it was crazy. It was called Multimeter Master Craftsman. I think somewhere maybe I've got a VHS tape of it. It was horrible. Anyway, so because you have no idea how hard it is to do video. I mean, first of all, I'm not an actor. All right, so I suck at it, in my opinion. Here's what you'll discover really quickly. If you want to have a table to sit down at outside on a deck, the minimum size of the deck for just a simple 4-foot diameter table, all right? A 4-foot diameter table is not really that big. I mean, it's not huge. So just a simple round or square 4-foot table, you have to have a deck at minimum 12 by 12. If you don't have that kind of space, then when people are sitting at the table, if you need to get up and go around them to get back into the house, they need to scoot in on their chair. I mean, it's horrible. And on that original video, I did the math. I actually had a little paper cutout. I did it to scale. I showed you how big the table was, the chairs, what the normal position is when you sit at a table. You know how far out the chair extends. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, so 10-foot deck, flipping useless. So I decided that I wanted to build a bigger deck below the other one. And luckily, because the hill my house is built on is so steep, the distance from the upper deck down to the ground is 13 feet. That's a long way. That allowed me to drop the second deck down about 30 something inches. I forget what it was. I think it's 4 risers. So yeah, it's about 30 inches. And maybe 37 inches. So you could still walk underneath the deck down, and I built a patio underneath that deck. But the point is it allowed me to drop that huge deck down, and then when you're up on the upper deck, now there's no railing when you sit down blocking your view. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to sit on the upper deck on those big chairs, and you don't have your view blocked. All right. Questions. If you have questions about your home, now's the time to ask them. I don't care what the question is. It doesn't matter. Happy to answer it. I will tell you what I'm going to do here shortly. If I don't get any questions, I'm going to go right outside and record a video. I'm recording a whole bunch of series of videos about sewer gas. By the end of tomorrow, actually, I'll have it done today for sure. I published about, I don't know. I published it maybe 2 weeks ago, a brand new sewer gas book, and it's kind of cool. I applied for I registered the copyright to it, and got the copyright back, the certificate. I think it's right here. No, I don't. Anyway, I yeah, here it is. Yeah, I already got the certificate back. So here's the official certificate from the Copyright Office for the sewer gas book. And anyway, I kind of made a really bonehead mistake early on. I've been trying to sell it, and it's really kind of cool how I um, created the book. It's only 4 chapters. It's only 27 pages long. So you can read the whole stupid thing in 30 minutes, 25 minutes. Really simple. But the first 2 chapters are explaining the whole dynamics of your plumbing system in your home and the whole thing about sewer gas. And it's just really, really interesting information. Then the second 2 chapters take you step by step how to locate the sewer gas problem. It explains what the problem is in that instance, and then it tells you how to fix it. So it's like, what an idiot. In other words, I need to give away the first 2 chapters for free. So by the end of today, I will have carved those chapters out of the book, put them up on my server, created a link. You can read the first 2 chapters for free. I don't care. And then if you want to discover how to solve the problem, then you just buy the ebook. It's really inexpensive. Anyway, so that's what's going on. All right. The reason why is I connected my microphone, my good microphone here. You can see it to the laptop. Back when I had the bad connection, I guess on Wednesday, I thought that I could have just plugged in this microphone right away and went to the systems, picked it out, but I thought that I would have to install the driver. So I thought, I can't do that during the live stream. Well, guess what? I come to find out if my son's right, all right, my son's typically right. I don't challenge him anymore. It doesn't do any good. And he said that almost all modern things now are plug and play, and that's evidently inside this flipping microphone is a microchip that has the driver already installed. Hard to believe. Hard to believe. This is coming from a guy who's been doing computers since 1985, when you actually had to go get the driver software and install it. Anyway, so I plug in the stupid USB cable. It's a USB microphone, and I go to the settings, in this stupid 10-year-old, MacBook Pro laptop, and boom, there's the microphone. It sees it, it recognizes it. You just have to click it, and all of a sudden it works. It picks this microphone instead of the crappy built-in one in the laptop. All right. The tomatoes. Something's going on with the tomatoes. All right. I don't understand what's going on with the tomatoes. Here's what the tomatoes look like. So the tomatoes leaves are all curled down. It's not dead, but it's not vibrant. Like when this thing's really growing, the leaves are out and flat, and I've not overwatered it. I think I may have 2 things might be going on. I may have over fertilized it a little bit, and so it's like not liking all that fertilizer. And I think maybe it's grown so much that it's outgrown the pot, that it's root bound, right? Maybe. I don't know. So it's definitely not overwatering. I'm not overwatering it. I did an experiment late yesterday afternoon. I took my biggest one. So the one I just showed you is the second biggest one. I took the biggest one downstairs. I went out, took one of my old 5-gallon pails, drilled 4 holes in it for drainage, filled it up with really good, like, potting soil, and I transplanted that tomato into that 5-gallon pot where it's going to live the rest of the summer, hoping that overnight that the leaves would kind of flatten back out and look great again. But problem is, though, I left it in the garage, which was cool, and tomatoes like it warm. All right, so I brought it in the house at about 6:30 this morning. So now it's 70 degrees around the tomato plant, and I'm going to see if later today that one kind of perks back up. So if so, then I'm going to take these other 3 out of the cave here and get them in 5-gallon pots tomorrow. All right. So anyway, that's the tomatoes. All right. If you are new to the stream, you need to do what Will and Bob have done. You need to check in and then list a superpower. We're losing people like flies. All right. So Uh, oh, any recommendations for a family vacation lodge on Lake Winnipesaukee? Well, there are 2 or 3 rental places in Meredith. I drive by this one place all the time. There's a business, all they specialize in are, houses that homeowners own that rent. So you and if you go to Airbnb or um, what is it, Verbo, all those online places, there's got to be hundreds of houses you can rent on Winnipesaukee. I mean, personally, I don't know of any. And, that was what the whole argument was, here in my own HOA that happened over the past 5 months. It was horrible. And, there were 19 of us that did not want the new bylaw. In other words, my HOA just passed a bylaw where if you're going to rent to somebody, the minimum rental is 3 months. Because they're trying to stop this weekly rental business. And I actually feel that the bylaw is illegal, but I'm not going to fight it. I'm not, I don't want to be consumed by that unhappiness. But the point is, there are all kinds of places, Bob, that you can rent. Um, and I can actually tell you, I mean, Winnipesaukee is, yeah, of course, it's the big lake, man, but Winnisquam, you might find a much better deal on my lake on Winnisquam. It's the third largest lake in the state, and a little bit more peaceful. Um, in other words, I'm just trying to tell you, I would also look for houses to rent on Lake Winnisquam. That's all I'm saying, because the prices for Winnipesaukee could be 1.5, 2 times greater than what a price per week is on Winnisquam. All right, just so it's going to be the same experience. You're going to have the same flipping. It's the same water. It's the same water temperature. It's the same. You've got the same convenience to everything. Um, I mean, and in fact, the trouble is that if you, depending on where you rent on Winnipesaukee, you could be pretty far away from stuff. I mean, you could be like if you rent a house or someplace on Moltenboro Neck, are you kidding me? That's like in the middle of nowhere. All right. I mean, if you rent on Moltenboro Neck, it's like a half an hour or more just to get to a grocery store. It's crazy, especially if you're way at the bottom of the neck. So anyway, look for places on Winnisquam. All right. If you've just happened to get here, I'm the Ask the Builder guy. I do a live stream on Saturday mornings to try to help you in projects. Like if you're doing a project today and you need some advice, now's the time to ask the question. So if you've got a project going today or this weekend, I know tomorrow's Easter. I get it. Like if you need a great place to hide Easter eggs, there's little chocolate Easter eggs outside. I got it. I know exactly what to do. If you have got a question about any type of project, let me know. Just type it in the chat and I'll answer it. Otherwise, I swear to God, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm serious. I got stuff to do, man. I'm so energized. I got so much stuff to do. You can't believe I haven't even written the newsletter yet. I got to get my newsletter done. All right. Will says, is it okay to sand my deck now if I can't stain it until the weather warms up? Sure. You could do that. I don't know that I would do that because, and see how crazy is that? You have to sand a deck. That's insane. That's so much work. Uh, I don't know that I would do that because, well, yeah, you could sand it, and then it's just that you have to realize just before you stain it again with the great sealer that I'm going to reveal next Sunday. I've got the big deck reveal next Sunday. Um, in fact, I'm going to go get that. I want to go get that. I'm going to go get that video link and type it in right now here or paste it in. Anyway, Will, what I was going to say, I'm a little disconnected. I was just going to say, if you sand it now, then right before you go to stain it, you got to clean the deck, because in between the time of sanding it and waiting 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, there's a little bit of dirt and stuff's going to get on the deck. and you really, really want it clean, before you seal it. And if you're going to clean it and you really want to deep clean the wood, boom, stain solver. You use stain solver. So stain solver is the best deck cleaner out there. It really is. It's a certified organic oxygen bleach. You mix it up, hot water, warm water, stir it all up till it dissolves, brush it on the deck, squirt it on with a hand pump sprayer. You'll immediately see it start to foam and bubble, and it's deep cleaning the wood. I mean, it's really amazing stuff. All right. I want to get this video here. So I'm going to type into your best deck sealer 2022. Let's see if my video comes up first in YouTube. Well, there's the ads. Yeah, what do you know? Isn't that awesome? Copy link address. All right, here we go. The video that I'm going to explain something here too. So here's the video that I recorded maybe 2-3 days ago, just to try to get my newsletter people, in a buzz, and I'll share it again tomorrow. Surprisingly, all right. So I got a little wrapped around okay, just so you know, I'm going to say this one last time. Excuse me. If you have a question about your home or you're starting a project this weekend or next week, type your question in the chat, all right? And then I'll do my best to answer it. If I don't get a question, I'm out of here. I'm just giving you fair warning, all right? All right, there we go. Fine. Yeah, multimeter. Hold on. Here's the one I use. I'm trying to get out of the daggone so I'm trying to, so it's the I'm trying to get out of the glare. So there you can see that the MM700. MM700. Flipping amazing multimeter. All right. Flipping amazing. Here. I'm sorry. So there it's in voltage. So works really well. Really, really great multimeter. All right. So that answers that question. And if you could do me a favor, Tim or Craig, if you could use if you're going to go buy it on Amazon, if you'd use my affiliate link, stand by. I'll give you that link for it right now. I appreciate it, because it helps. All this little stuff, and it allows me to do what I'm doing. In other words, you need to understand that there's bills to pay. MM700. There we go. Here we go. Stand by. Anyway, there's bills to pay, people to pay, blah, blah, blah. And this tiny little commission that I get from Amazon, it adds up. They add up after a while. So I'm trying to get the link for you. Stand by. Amazon's a little slow this morning. So stand by, trying to get the link. There we go. Finally. Jeez. Holy tomato. So anyway, I'd appreciate it if you would use this link. Get that multimeter. All right. It's great multimeter. I've had it for a few years. It's really, it's amazing what it can do. It's just absolutely amazing. So please use that affiliate link. And you can buy anything else at Amazon you want while you're there. It doesn't matter. All of that stuff helps. What I was going to say, here's what I was going to say about the video that I taped, pasted just above. So that's the deck stain preview video. I got about 4 or 5 emails from people, and they were disturbing. They were from my newsletter subscribers. They were deeply disturbing to me. All right. And I guess if I go back and watch the video, I could have explained it maybe a little differently, but I thought that it would be as obvious as the nose on your face. And I will explain it in the video I'm recording this week. One of the things it's 2 things. 2 things that people are most concerned about. I mean, I know this because I've been talking about it for 25 years. When it comes to wood deck stains, the two biggest complaints that people complain about a deck stain is, number one, that the deck stain fades. In other words, it looks fantastic the day you put it on and a week later and maybe a month later. But then by the end of the season, it's looking a little dingy. All right. And then by the following year, it's looking pretty. It doesn't look anywhere near, it's like, how can I say this? I hope Lorene's not here. You know, if you remember kind of in the old days, like you go out on a date with a woman and they put makeup on and they look great. All right. They do. I mean, and most women look beautiful anyway. All right. They don't need makeup. But then you see them the next morning and without the makeup and you go, whoa. All right. All right. So not everybody. Some women just look beautiful. They don't need makeup, like I said. So your deck kind of looks like that, a year later, like, whoa, ugly. Not ugly, just doesn't look so great. And so bear with me. Ladies, I'm not trying to, don't be angry at me. All right. I like to state facts. All right. So my question to you is, think about this. If I said to you, if you were going to test a deck stain and you wanted to show people 2 years later how much the deck stain faded, how would you do that? Can you think of how you would do that? Think about that. In other words, if you stain the deck, I know you might say, well, take a photo. Well, I don't know about that because that everybody's monitor is a little different, right? So, and maybe you got your camera settings wrong. So you got the color temperature all off. All right. So it won't do much good to take a photo of the deck right after you stained it. And because it all has to do with the lighting, time of day. Was it overcast? Was it not? I mean, I know a lot about photography. Here's why. So back in college, this is a book that's long since out of print. I took in geology. It's really important. My college degree's in geology. All right. Well, believe me, in geology, you have to take a lot of photographs. There's all kinds of reasons why. And this was an incredible flippin' book. I mean, I mean, this was published back in the copyright 1965. All right. So, but even though back then they didn't have digital cameras. Well, they did have digital cameras, but they were used by the CIA and the Army. They were not yet available to us. All right. So digital cameras were available, but not to the public. So this is about film, but the principles of f-stops and all the other things about photography have not changed. All the optics and lights, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, fantastic book if you can get your hands on it. The point is that there's so much involved in the lighting and everything else. So anyway, how would you, I'm going to see if you can answer this. If I told you, how would you be able to show people 2 years later how much the deck faded? How would you do that? Can you think how to answer that? I know you hate being put on the spot. I get it. You don't want to look crazy. All right. So here's how I did it. When the reason I had to stain, it was my dock, and my dock's the same thing as a deck. It doesn't matter. But what happened is the year before we had a bad storm, and I have a type of dock that is like the drawbridge at a castle, where every fall you have to get the dock up out of the water. If you don't get it up out of the water, when the lake freezes, the ice will just tear the dock apart. We had a bad storm in the fall, and what had happened is we had about a week of heavy rain beforehand, and the level of the water had come up a good foot. All right. And then we had this really bad nor'easter. Will probably remembers it. This is maybe 3-4 years ago, because if I had it, Will had it. But we got a lot of them, so it's hard to tell them apart. And I'm telling you, it happened in the middle of the night, and the it was so windy that the waves on the lake must have been a foot or two high. I mean, big waves. And what they did, and because my deck is on the western shore, the wind was blowing the water towards my deck. And so the waves would come, they'd come and they would hit underneath my dock panels. And each dock panel weighs, I don't know, 40 pounds. And it popped them out. It popped them out like you would fling a penny in the air with your thumb to flip it, right? So 4 of the dock panels disappeared. Who knows where they are? They're gone. They could have been pulverized because the waves beating them against the shore, the rocks, whatever. They're gone. I mean, never found them. Never found any evidence of the dock panels. I had to rebuild them. They're 6 feet wide. So I was hoping like, oh, awesome if I could get 12-foot wide cedar. Nope, sorry, no 12-foot wide cedar. Got to buy 14 footers. Are you kidding me? So when every time I cut one of the 14 footers, I got the 2 6-foot pieces I needed, and I ended up with a scrap around 2 feet long. You still haven't answered how you would do it. See, what's wrong? Are you afraid? Are you afraid of looking bad? That's a fault for many older people. Did you know that most people, as they get older, their egos get weaker? All right. Think about it when you were 18 years old. I mean, if somebody threatened you or challenged you, you'd be in their face in a heartbeat. But as you get older, you tend to retract a little bit because you're not as you just get weaker. All right. That's typical. Not always, not everybody. I do what you well, the safe answer. All right. So anyway, so you don't. So what happens is, haven't you noticed this in life as you get older, and that if somebody challenges you or says something, unless it's a real hot butt issue for you, you just kind of tend to be quiet. You don't want to. You don't want to look bad in front of people. You don't want to get embarrassed. Whereas kids, young kids, they don't care about being embarrassed. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever watched the behavior of like 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old, 7-year-old kids? They don't. I don't even know that they know what embarrassment is. All right. So anyway, I record this video that I just showed you. I'm gonna give you the link again. Copy link address. I want because it's really important to watch this video. And anyway, I get about 5 or 6 disturbing emails from people saying that was, that was that your test was inaccurate. In other words, that sample of wood that you kept in your garage, you should have left that outside. You should have left it outside in the sun for 2 years. I'm serious. Like, what the hell are those people thinking? So, I responded back as respectfully as I could. I said, well, if I do it your way, can you explain to me what would you do to show how much color fade there was? In other words, if I stain the dock panels and they're out in the sun for 2 years, and then I stain the scrap piece of wood and I leave it outside, aren't those all gonna fade at the same rate? Let's hope these people are not breeding. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. So I know that's a little harsh, but it's true. It's true. Anyway, when you watch that video, what you're going to see, it's actually remarkable because the stain that I used, I did a lot of research trying to find this thing, trying to find this product. And I'm going to explain that in the video I'm recording this week. That video you're going to be able to watch this a week from tomorrow on April 24th. You're going to see this video. It's not yet been created, but today would be a perfect day to do it. Actually, it's overcast here. It's perfect lighting. That's another little tip real quick. The best time to record video outside, right? You know when that is. You think, I know what you're going to say. When it's sunny out, that's the worst time. You don't want to record video outside when it's sunny because then you get all the raccoon eyes from the shadows. unless you've got a huge Hollywood setup where they put up those huge sunscreens and shade screens. Are you kidding me? That's a $100,000 production. But people like you and I, if you're going to record video outside and you want really good lighting on your face, you want it to be on an overcast day. This video, I'll explain in great detail about here's what I did, here's why I did it, because we needed to judge color fade. And here's what happened. If you watch that video that Will says he watched, there's hardly any color fade. I mean, hardly any. It's crazy. I mean, just like, wow. I was stunned. I for sure thought that there'd be more color, because when I looked at that sample in the garage and how rich in color it was, and it looked like the day that I had stained it, which it should look like, because I kept it away from the flipping sun. And I took it down and put it on the dock. I was like, are you kidding me? Because most people only get 2 years out of their deck stain, and you're lucky if you get 2 years out where it still looks pretty decent. It's still going to look faded in most of the other stains. But this one, I'm telling you what, there's a possibility this stain could last 3 or 4 years. So I think you're going to be excited to hear about that stain next Sunday. We'll see. We'll see. And it's going to be basically just like Consumer Reports. In other words, when you don't get anything for free from Consumer Reports, right? You don't, nothing, not one thing, nothing. Go to their website. It's completely locked. So if you want to know what the stain is that I used, unfortunately, you're going to have to invest. You're going to have to drink 1 or 2 less coffees a week. That's all. Not just for 1 week only. No big deal. You can, go cold turkey off coffee for a day or day. One of those expensive coffees. All right. Any other questions? If not, I'm out of here. I got so much stuff to do today. So much stuff. All right. I'll give you another minute to type a question. If you don't type the question, seriously, I will be hitting the red button that I'm looking at right now. It says end stream, and I am out of here. All right. So, any other questions? Make sure you go watch Alan's video. That one up above. That one at the Utah State Park. Slide back up. I forget which one it is. I see it right there. But anyway, let's see if I can copy that link. No. I'm not going to pin that message. All right. So anyway, watch that one video higher up about I think the name of the state park was Deadwood or Dead Point. I don't know. It's an amazing state park in Utah. And then if you click, when you watch that video, you can see Alan's picture and the name of his channel. I think it's Traveling with Alan. Go ahead and click his channel page and watch the other 3 videos he's got. There's one, a really interesting one. Golfing is an adult Easter egg hunt. You got that right. One of the other interesting videos was watch the one about the ghost town in that he visited. The town was Piedmont, was the name of the town. What's really interesting is you get into that video, the actual gravel road. You're just traveling on a gravel road. You actually are traveling on the gravel road. On the roadbed of the original Transcontinental Railroad. They eventually shifted it. In other words, the current railroad, Union Pacific or Burlington Northern, whatever they call it now, they created track in a new place that was more efficient and whatever. So, but how cool to think right where your car is basically, if you go back in time 100 years ago, your car tires would be on steel rails. Very cool. You gotta see that part. So it's the Ghost Town video. You won't miss it once you go to his channel. Actually, I can bring up his channel for you. Hold on. I've got this channel. So yeah, this is the easy way to do it. So go to Alan's channel and watch all 4 videos, but watch that Ghost Town one. Really, I'm going to go. I mean, I've decided, okay, I love going out west. I love traveling. And it's like, I'm going to go out and do a road trip. Screw the interstate highways. I'm just going to go do all these back roads. Crazy. Oh my gosh. What do you see? And what you're going to see in that video too, you're going to see you're going to see three old beehive kilns where a man had a business back 120 years ago, um, where he made charcoal. He made charcoal for and shipped it on the railroad. So the kilns were literally the kilns were immediately adjacent to the railroad track, and I'm sure they had a siding that the railroad company built a siding for him, and left some box cars there or whatever, so he could bag up the charcoal to be sent, or to the smelting place. You'll see it in the video. It's really fascinating. All right, I'll give you one last chance. We've got some new people who come in. If you have got a question about your home or whatever, if you've got a question about your home or you're starting a project, now is the time to type it in. I only do the live stream to answer questions about your house. It could be any kind of question: plumbing, heating, roofing, flooring, concrete, foundation, blacktop. Let me think of a few others. Decks, like you have a deck issue, whatever it might be, whatever your question might be, type it in quickly, because otherwise I'm going to go. If you are typing a question, at least just start the question, hit return, so I know you're typing. So go ahead and do that. Otherwise, I'm going to get out of here. Seriously. Great book, by the way. I'll say it one more time. If you can find this book at some old bookstore, it's a paperback book. All right. So if you have the ability to find this book, and you like photography, I'm telling you right now, you're going to learn something. This is an amazing flipping book. I would never give that thing up. I have no idea what this is worth. It's in really great shape. Really great shape. Who knows? This book I could get $50, maybe $100 for this book right now on Amazon. And back in the day, when I was in college, look at that. Back in the day, I paid $2.50 for that thing. That I would have bought that book in 1972. This is when I bought it, 73. So it's worth. You'd pay $20 for that book right now, minimum $20. So anyway, all right. If you've got a question, now's the time to type it in about your house. Otherwise, I'm going to go do my newsletter. Yeah, well, I did too. That was the textbook for the photography class taught by Dr. Bullard, Bullard. I ran the biggest darkroom on the campus of the University of Cincinnati. It was actually in the basement of the geology building. Huge darkroom. Man, there could be 6, 7 people working in that darkroom at one time. Crazy. It was a huge darkroom. I developed countless rolls of 35 millimeter film, just hundreds, thousands. I would make the prints for these master's degree and PhD students who did not know how to do this photography crap. They were supposed to learn, but they didn't. So they just had us do it. So my work is in probably 10, 20, 30 master's and PhD theses that are on some library shelf somewhere. The iron looks a little top heavy. Are you talking about the soldering iron? If so, it is top heavy if you don't have it connected to a battery. If you don't have it connected to a battery, it just falls over. But I can put it here and do this, and you can see that it stands up on its own. All right, it doesn't fall over. So the soldering iron stands up just fine as long as you have it connected to a battery. All right. Well, Will, who even does a Bessler? Who even does film anymore? Can you even buy? I can't even imagine how hard it is to buy. Actually, right behind this door right here, I've got my old photography bag with my last 35 millimeter camera I bought. I bought it 35 years ago. It was a Canon. It's beautiful flipping camera. And I still have all the lenses, everything. Wisely, years ago, I took the batteries out so they wouldn't corrode and ruin the camera. I could put batteries in it right now and fire it right back up. But think how hard it would be to buy film and then get it developed. All right. But yeah, I remember using a Bessler enlarger. We had Bessler enlargers. And how you would do, now you do it all in Photoshop, but you would dodge. If you remember anything about how when you're making prints, here's actually a print. Here's a photo I took, and I developed the film, and I made this print of one of my best friends in geology. But here's a black and white photo I took. His name's Phil. Probably we were on a field trip in the city of Cincinnati, because that's all interbedded limestone and shale right there. So I know we were in Cincinnati. And I took that photo in 1972, and I made that print back in 72, 73. But look how good. Well, once you keep them out of the light, they're in great. They'll usually stay forever. When you put things in light, the photons are what destroy them. Hi, Rocco. How you doing? You got here just in time. I'm about ready to leave. If you have a question, now's the time to ask it. Otherwise, I'm out of here. So we're not getting any questions. Duck Hunter said a Bessler D2V. God only knows. I don't remember the type enlarger we used. Will needed to use a propane soldering iron when installing the Easy Pass connection. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's because you can't, when you're outside working, you have to have the roofers that I used to hire. In other words, the roofers. If you've ever seen a roofer soldering iron, it's basically just a big soldering tip, about an inch in diameter and about this long, and it looks a lot like a plumb bob in a way. But anyway, those were just on a handle with a wood handle, and what they would do, they had a little charcoal fired like miniature forge, and that's how they kept those soldering irons hot. So when they would do and they would have multiple soldering irons, because they would get the soldering iron hot, and they'd use it, and it would start to cool down. Then they would go grab another one. But that's kind of a lost art. That's how they would solder flat like tin roofs, flat like seam box gutters. Oh, how I wish I had the video cameras we have now back when I was first in the business. And if I could caught some of that on video, that would have been amazing. So, hi, Jimmy, how you doing? Some snake venom. Yeah, I heard about that. Isn't there some snake venom in the experimental biological agent? That's what I thought I heard. So anyway, all right. Any other questions? If not, I am out of here. I'll wait for just 1 minute, and then I'm going to go. Pretty excited about today. I got all kinds of exciting things happening, and Ask the Builder right now. Some videos. Been super busy. No problem. Jimmy, I've cut back. I'm busy too. I'm crazy busy, and got all kinds of really exciting things happening around me right now, and it's going to be kind of an exciting next 2-3 months. Oh, I know what I wanted to share. Hold on a second. Hold on. You're lucky. This is giving you time to ask a question. But if I come back and there's no question, I'm out of here. I'm going to share a video of where I was yesterday. Actually, I'm going to share 2 videos for you. Wait till you see this. I went to do some outdoor ham radio with my mentor, and we went to Livermore Falls. And wait till you see this video. Let's see. Yeah, here we are. So I'm trying to get the link for you. I'm going to copy the link. Yes, I know. Come on. I want the flipping link, you idiot. I'm trying to go back. There we go. All right, so here we go. Hold on, getting the link for you. You're going to love this. If you're going to wait till you, there we go. Hold on. Then I'm going to give you another video, but this is where I was yesterday afternoon, about 1:30. All right, so go look at that one, and then I will show you a second video I shot of the foundation of the old mill. I'm getting this link right now. Copy it. All right, and I'll explain what you're looking at. All right, and then I'm going to get out of here because there's no questions. All right, if you just happen, I'll give you a chance because we got a few more new viewers. If you have just tuned in and you've got a question about your house or anything, now's the time to ask it. Does the soldering iron have a silicone cord? I don't know. It doesn't feel silicone-y to me. I'm looking at the writing on the cord. I don't think it is. I can't tell. I don't think it is. The insulation doesn't feel like normal silicone to me. Tim, is that the pan behind you your wife uses when you misbehave? I don't see a pan behind me. I'm not seeing a pan. All right, so I don't know. I see, let me point with this finger. I see my YouTube 100,000 subscriber thing. I see my Archimedes thermometer. I see this brass stand for the earth ball. I see my Ask the Builder brick. And I see a railroad lantern, an official, true, old-fashioned kerosene railroad lantern. My left. This is the shield for the microphone. In other words, I'll teach you something, Jimmy, about broadcasting. If you don't have a shield like this, like the letter P, when you say P, like I want some popcorn. So that as soon as you say pop, it creates a pop in most microphones. If you look at the audio track on software, you see this really sharp volume. I mean, it's horrible. So these screens, this is a foam one. It's got some dust on it. I need to take it off and wash it. Anyway, they help reduce that so that it's soft. It's basically a filter to filter out those intense audio moments in recording. The other way around it with some microphones, if you're taught in a studio, and microphones are all different. You know, there's omni microphones, there's directional ones, but in a microphone that you sometimes see, like if you were to watch old videos of Rush Limbaugh, because that microphone that he uses, very standard microphone, like it's golden microphone, you would basically, if you talk across it, in other words, here's the microphone, I'm teaching you something, like those type in the studio, if I talk right into it like this, that's going to cause all kinds of problems. So you're taught to talk across the microphone. So instead of the voice, the sound coming in, you want to talk across it, and that really helps a lot. So you learned a little thing about audio today. So there you go. All right. So anyway, so it's not a pot and pan, it's a filter. It's an audio filter. All right. All right, Duck Hunter, Jimmy, Will, everyone else. That's the only people who checked in. I think Don checked in early on. Rocco. Craig did. I see Craig. I'm trying to scroll. Yeah, trying to scroll up through. I'm out of here. I'm going to get to work. I'm going to go do my newsletter. And then if it's not raining, I'm going to go out and record a quick video. And then I will share. I'll be back on Monday at 4:00. If you've not subscribed to my newsletter, my Ask the Builder newsletter, I'm telling you. Hi, Frank. I'm just ready to get off, Frank. You got here a little late. So here, go here. I already know that Frank is a subscriber. As is Will. So go there and subscribe to the newsletter. The reason why is tomorrow in the newsletter, there's going to be a link to the first 2 chapters of my sewer gas ebook. You get those. I'm going to start giving them away for free. I don't know what I was thinking. Why didn't I do that a month ago? sometimes I just wonder about myself. All right. Yes, ham dinner tomorrow. I did not get the best ham. Kathy was a little upset at me at the store because there's only the two of us, so we didn't want to buy this giant flipping ham. All the other hams were huge. I bought the smaller one, and she says that's kind of an inferior ham. She said, so. But I'm the one who goes to the store now. All right, I'm the one who go for materials. All right, this is the last call because we're picking up people. We're losing people. If you have a question about your home, now's the time to put it in. We're going to have smashed red potatoes, green beans, and a cream sauce that she makes, and ham. That's it. That's the dinner. Just the two of us. Now's the time to ask your question. If you've got a question about your home. If not, I am out of here. Yeah, right. So once again, here's the Sears Craftsman soldering iron I talked about earlier in the live stream. Battery powered. Pretty amazing little tool. It's got a little mini computer in here. Pretty nice. Adjustable from 400 to 900 degrees. Works on any of their 20-volt platform. So it's a 20-volt soldering iron. Gets pretty hot pretty quickly. The only thing that it didn't come with, but I can see how you can switch them out. It's got a little screw here. I'll show you. So it's got a screw right there right there. So you can put in different tips. But this is a pretty fine point tip. That's probably the one to start with for craft purposes. But you would definitely want to have different tips in there. I can tell you that. All right, Frank. Yeah, I'm out of here. But yeah, Sears store, they're done. Well, dude, so here's what happened. I'll tell you this really quickly. So I was lucky enough to get into this whole syndicated column thing back in the glory days of Sears, back in 1993. I think 1996, maybe 1995. I went to my first Sears editors conference, and those were the best ones ever held. I've been to probably somewhere between 50 and 100 editors conferences over my entire career, and I'll explain what an editors conference is, and then you'll understand all this. An editors conference is where different people like me, it could be a syndicated columnist, it could be a writer for a magazine. It could now it would be people who are doing YouTube videos. Back then it wasn't. YouTube didn't even exist. So it would be like newspaper columnists, magazine columnists, people who wrote home improvement books. The smart public relations people, they were on their radar. In other words, if you were a good public relations person, you were constantly, it's called media scanning. You were scanning the media to find out who the new people are in the hobby, or in the field, in that vertical, and you would see what they do, and you would always reach out to them about new news, hoping that they would publish it. All right. The PR person for Sears at the time was a guy named Mike Magnan. Wonderful guy. He lived up in Chicago. Of course, that's where Sears was headquartered at the time. And my column first ran in the Chicago Tribune. So every week he'd be opening up the Chicago Tribune, looking at their home section. Boom, my column appears. He reaches out to me right away. I then get an invitation. And the Sears Editors Conference, really fascinating because it was a 3-day event. And what happens, they pay for everything. In other words, they pay for my airfare, they pay for the hotel, they pay for all the food. You don't get any money to go there. All of your expenses are covered. And it was always held down in Florida in the off season. So it was in June of each year. So it was hot as can be, but it was always at a beautiful resort. And what they would do is you would arrive and they would have a really nice kind of get together the night before. Then the next day, pretty intense day, you'd start at 8 in the morning and it would run till about 1 o'clock. And every 10 minutes, you would be introduced to a new tool. The manufacturers would explain it, blah, blah, blah. You could ask questions. There'd always be a hands-on where you could test each tool. It was held in the big giant ballrooms of these resort hotels. Anyway, but this was back in the heyday. And then the internet came along, and the management of Sears were a bunch of these old people who did not, they must have been like the buggy whip people, the people who ran the buggy whip business way back when Henry Ford came out with his Model T, because the people at Sears just pretty much ignored the internet. And even though Jeff Bezos started selling books, they didn't. I can tell you, because I started doing e-commerce. I was I think the first website in Cincinnati, Ohio, that had a shopping cart, and it was like pulling teeth to get to work with banks and stuff. They had no clue, man. They totally did not get it. But I could see it right away. I could see that people were going to give money right away with their credit card online. And you know who gets all the credit for this? Just so you know, this is true. Actually, Jeff Bezos wrote the foreword to a book that I was mentioning. The book was called StrikingItRich.com. If you can get your hands on that book, I have a copy buried in my files, but that's an out of print book too. It's called StrikingItRich.com. Jeff Bezos wrote the foreword. It might be the only foreword to any book that Jeff Bezos wrote. And what he stated in that foreword, just so you know, this is fascinating stuff. You know who's responsible? What industry is responsible for getting credit cards, using your credit card online? Can you guess? Go ahead and try to guess real quickly. Guess which industry was the one that innovated and made credit card purchasing online possible? The first one. Can you think who it would be? Go ahead. Come on. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds. Somebody take a guess. You got to take a guess. You got nothing to fear. It doesn't matter if you're wrong. It does, because I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and guess. Which industry was the first? Now, don't look it up. Don't cheat. Don't go online and cheat. Come on. That's what you're doing right now. I already know what you're doing. You're going to Google and you're typing in first industry to use credit cards online. I already know what you're doing. So Jimmy can't listen. All right. Pornography. I'll answer it for you. Pornography. Yep. All the early pornography websites, they got it. Those guys were smart, man. Like, I can't even think of the name. Who was that guy that was in the wheelchair? The guy that had Hustler magazine. He was from Cincinnati. Flint, Flint. Larry Flint. That's his name. He probably was the guy. Larry Flint might have been the first guy to figure it out, because, man, people would be giving their flipping credit cards all day long to look at pornography. So Sears, though, didn't get it. And Amazon crushed Sears, just like Amazon crushed Kmart, just like Amazon crushed, who knows, hundreds, thousands of businesses crushed them that did not figure it out. So Sears was one of them. I mean, and Sears back then, I mean, it's actually, I'm sure someone's done a master's thesis on it. In other words, the demise of the rise and fall of Sears. Wow. I mean, Sears, just so you know, back in the day when I was doing this thing, Sears probably had like 3 or 4 top scientists. They actually had their own lab. All right. They had a testing lab, very sophisticated testing lab that you might find if you could get into the headquarters of Consumer Reports. And because you understand that Sears, they never made one thing. Sears was not a manufacturer. All they did is they were a retailer. So they went out and they found companies that made things and that they wanted to sell, that they thought would sell. And then they made deals with them, and then they would then put the Craftsman name on it. So the Craftsman brand. All right. So here's where I was getting to the whole story. So they built this brand. I mean, Craftsman. I mean, I remember the first 10 minutes of every editor's conference was done by Andy Ginger. And Andy was going over all the technical research data that showed how powerful this name was. I'm telling you, this flipping name was so powerful. I'm covering up it twice. I'll show it to you twice. Craftsman. All right. What a great name. All right. And they trademarked it, of course. And it was so flipping powerful. So when Sears decided to go belly up, well, they didn't decide when they went belly up. So Stanley Black & Decker went into the smoldering remains of Sears, and they bought the brand name from Sears. So Stanley Black & Decker now owns the Craftsman brand name, and they're keeping it alive, and they're coming out with, they've got all these Craftsman tools. Now they're, in my opinion, they've positioned the brand to where it's just for a DIYer. It is not, so far the Craftsman tools that I've seen are not, they're either equal to or a little below Ryobi. All right, so you have to understand Ryobi stuff. It is not, you will not see professionals use Ryobi because you would burn it up. I mean, if you had a Ryobi circular saw on a job site, within 4 hours, if you used it all the time, you'd burn it up. All right, same thing with probably the Craftsman stuff. I mean, it's fine to make 1 or 2 cuts for 10 minutes, but anyway, but there's a need for that. In other words, there's a need for tools for homeowners like Craftsman who aren't, they don't want professional grade. They don't need professional grade. All right. So that's it. So that's a little story about Craftsman history. Still a fantastic brand, and Stanley Black & Decker is going to do their best to keep it alive, I'm sure. I don't know how much they invested in it, but you can bet it was 7 or 8 figures, I can tell you that, to buy that brand name. So they're going to keep making Craftsman tools, simple as that. All right. I'm out of here. Thanks for being here today. I appreciate it. I have got work to do. It's going to be a busy, busy day today here at Ask the Builder. I'm probably going to go tape the video right now because it's not raining. Then I can do the newsletter after that. All right. I never had a buggy whip. Yeah, Frank, I thought you would like that history. I thought if you were still here. Jimmy, the green sewer 4-inch pipe was $350 a foot, and then Schedule 40 white was $70 a foot. Ouch. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, is that just recently? I mean, is that, could be. I don't track prices because it's just it's a waste of time because it constantly changes. It doesn't matter. Here's what it is. It doesn't matter what something cost 6 months ago. It actually doesn't matter what something cost a week ago. It does not matter. All that matters is what you have to pay for something right now. Okay. So, I never had a buggy whip. Well, I'm not a buggy whipper. I'm not a, I'm a pacifist. Well, not really. So I don't go out and whip buggies. All right. Gotta go. Thanks very much for being here. I'll be here back on Monday. And like I said, if you've not subscribed to the newsletter, you really should, because tomorrow you're going to be able to get the first 2 chapters of the Sewer Gas book for free. It's going to be fun. All right. Thanks very much for being here. Thanks for your questions. I will be back on Monday afternoon, 4 o'clock Eastern. I'm Tim Carter. You've been watching Ask the Builder.